You are listening to ZTO Radio.
I'd like to meet you, but I'll bet you're hoping for a hunk. And all I've got to offer is sensitivity, intelligence, and charm.
I'm drinking milk, though, and for the next couple seasons, I'll be working out.
Milk's about the best thing I can drink right now to help me build strong arms,
powerful legs, and a broad chest. And when all my work is done, will you love me just for my body?
Welcome to ZTO Radio. I am Carrie Meyer, the ultimate indie fangirl, telling you what's good on the local Ohio music scene. I am talking to the lovely husband and wife duo of Jenn and Emil Yannelli. Am I saying that correct?
You did.
My man.
I did? Oh,
well,
I was shocked. I was afraid I was going to butcher it. 2/3 of the Findlay band, Nothing She Said. Jenn is the bassist and vocals, and Emil, am I saying that right?
Emil? Yeah.
Emil? Okay,
Yeah.
I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Is the drummer.
Yeah.
Their album, Live at the Strand, is available on Spotify and Bandcamp, along with many live videos on their Facebook page. Now, you'll notice that I said 2/3 of the band. So I understand Paul is leaving the band, correct?
We keep hoping it's not true, but no, he's still our friend. It's not a falling out thing. We all have families. He's especially busy with his family, and it was kind of getting to be too much. So I'm calling it a sabbatical, thinking that one day, because when things settle down, there's always the chance that he can come back. But you get real close with people when you're in a band. You don't want to let them go, but we understand. I mean, we have kids, so we get it.
So what then would be the status of the band, and what is the next step from here?
So we have a good friend of ours that was filling in for Paul beforehand. Actually, the last Groamy show that we did, Jonathan Peeler's his name. He actually filled in, did a great job. He's a great guy, and he filled in for another couple shows, I think, for us. So about the time we had this conversation with Paul was when the whole COVID thing happened. So we haven't really touched base on, we haven't really started looking, we haven't really began that whole process as far as having a conversation with Jonathan, having, opening it up to whoever. So we've kind of had a lot of discussions during this whole time about that. We're going to continue on. I mean, that's for sure. I've got lots of ideas and for new songs and things, so.
I know I did, when I saw you guys at the last Groamy show you guys did, you played with Cursive Z and Let It Go, I remember. And I did see him play with you guys, and he did an amazing job. He did something with the bow on the guitar. That was so cool. I had never seen that before, and I was completely amazed by that. So he is definitely a fitting substitute if you do need one. He is very, very skilled.
Yeah, he's a very nice. Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No.
Well, as I see in a lot of my band interviews, the vocalist tends to be the most vocal. So you guys are definitely following the trend there. And the drummers are the most quiet, I'm finding.
Yep.
And so you guys are no stranger to change. You both have had quite a journey when it comes to music. I know Jenn's been in several different groups, and how did you both get started in music, and how did it kind of lead you to where you are now?
You can go first if you want.
I don't know how far back. Like is in my playing my instrument, or just in the music scene, or
I'll start,
okay.
And I'll let him think about it. So I started as a teenager. I had a unusual, I guess, high school career, as you might call it. A lot of people were going to football games, and I don't know, basketball games and whatever, and I was gigging on the weekends. I still don't know why my parents let me, how I got away with that, because I don't know, having kids of my own, I'm not exactly sure how I'd feel about my daughter going with 3 men down to Columbus on a Friday night without anybody and coming back at 2 in the morning when they're 16, 17 years old, but somehow I did it. And I kind of learned bass on the fly. I actually played keyboard for a while in the very beginning. Don't ask me to ever do that now. I don't think I ever could. But I got taught bass. I've always sang. And I started writing. And then when I went to college, I started a band. And that's actually when I met him. And we did that for quite a while. And then we moved to Northwest Ohio. I took a sabbatical doing music after we decided to have kids. And then after a while, we started doing music again. So really, 3 bands, I guess, 3 like serious bands I've been in.
Yeah. I garage bands with my friends growing up and had wanted to do something serious and relocated to the Canton area right after high school and was looking to join a serious band, a gigging band, not to get out of the garage. And that's when I met Jenn and she had just left her first group and we jammed together and been together ever since, and we had the other band pre-kids and
yeah, my boyfriend I was with for 4 years and almost married actually introduced us. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, he sat in front of me in class. And he had a little label going too, so he worked. Yeah, it was fun.
So how does family factor into all this now? Your kids wanting to follow in your footsteps or anything like that? Or showing any interest?
Yeah, they're both pretty musical, which is really cool because I always thought, crap, with my luck, I mean, it would have been fine, but I was like, they're going to want to be like in cheerleading and sports, and neither one of us know very much about any of that stuff. And they both, my one daughter just looked at me. Anyway,
telling her secrets.
Our younger one's in soccer, and I never thought I would enjoy it, but it's really cool. But she plays, I think it's trumpet, not cornet. And then she's got a beautiful singing voice. And then she actually was taking guitar lessons for a little while, but she's at that age where she's not exactly sure what she wants to do.
She dabbles on the keyboard.
Yeah.
That's cool, though, that she's very open to trying new things. It's cool.
Yeah, she's taking some guitar lessons.
And then
so she can do about whatever she wants to if she sticks with it.
And then our older daughter is a percussionist, is a drummer just like he is, and she's phenomenal. She's very, very good at it.
She is a school drummer, though. She can play timpani and orchestrated stuff. I can't.
More technical stuff.
Very much so.
And plus, she's a right-handed drummer, and I'm a lefty, so I play backward from her. It was hard to teach her.
And if some, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, to answer the other part of your question, they thought it was cool at first, but I think they get bored with it now. I mean, not that we're in any way, shape, or form like these major rock stars or anything, but when we gig, they're just like, whatever. It's, mom and dad have a show, whatever.
Living room practice. They usually when we do come home from a show at 3, 4 in the morning, they're the ones saying, "How come you're not home yet?"
Roll switch to bed, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually we try to have them stay at friend's house, or sometimes grandpa will come over. But yeah, I mean, my dad's known I've been in music for years, so he'll come over and sometimes sit with them on the really late nights, like if we're the main act. And like he said, we get home at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So.
All right, we are up to our first music break, and we are going to play a little bit of you guys. This is Nothing She Said, playing Nothing to Say, and followed by Uniontown Electric, Glock, and Spiel, only on ZTO Radio.
That you've done. I will put your transgressions on the wall. This season is withering fast, and the trust has left us out to dry. Forgetfulness. Tell me your side. Tell me it'll be alright in time. I'm sure you'll find it'll go away. don't you tell me what you want me to hear? Why don't you tell me, 'cause I ain't got nothing to say. Why don't you tell me what you want me to hear? Why don't you tell me, 'cause I ain't got nothing to say. Why don't you tell me?
interesting choices though tonight. These are a lot of bands that I have not heard of. I had to do some research, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, our buddy Nate on the Uniontown, he was a guitarist in my college band. We've remained friends all these years, and we've actually talked about doing some stuff with him even now, like sending recorded things back and forth. And
when we get rolling again, we'll play games with each other in Akron. And
when we're allowed to touch each other in.
Yeah.
You know. So ready, that's for sure. All right. I'm going to come back if you guys are ready.
Sure.
All right. And we are back with more with Nothing She Said. If someone would say to you, what kind of music do you play? What would you say to them?
We were just talking about that earlier today. I don't know. I know that I like when I ask somebody what their band plays and they don't know how to answer, then I'm interested.
So I guess it's a good.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's a good thing because we're always stumped. We actually really enjoy hearing what other people say we sound like because we really don't know. When I write the music, I'm inspired by everything. You know, I think any musician should be. I mean, not just even other past musicians, but I think you got to be inspired by everything around you in life and your life experiences, or if you're witnessing a life experience of somebody else and it touches you. So I think it's like a combination. But I mean, I don't know, as far as I've heard and I can see it. I've heard mixes like a little bit of Joy Division with a little bit of Sonic Youth, Smashing Pumpkins. We've heard that. We've heard a little bit of Garbage.
Well, I don't know. In our old group, we're Hum.
Oh yeah.
But I'm sure we carry those influences over from our old group.
Right.
So,
I think you'd probably have picked up something from each group. I mean, you'd have to at least teach you something new every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
now, there's a lot of negativity out there right now with the whole Corona situation. Have you guys found that difficult to do anything like creatively? I mean, I know stress as a writer, at least in my case, it can stifle creativity. Are you finding it hard to stay inspired? Because there's not a lot of positive things going on right now in the world.
Yeah, I guess there's not really a lot of positive things going on ever. I mean, if you really, really come down to it, I mean, this is bad. I mean, and this is definitely bringing out the worst, I think, in people. But when this goes, something else is going to come along. But yeah, it's been distracting for me. I had all these plans. I thought that I would be laid off like a lot of people were, and I'm going to write the new album. I'm going to do all this stuff. And they kept me working, which I'm thankful for, but I didn't have the time that I thought that I was maybe going to have to write that new album. And it's like, okay, well, I'll go home and I'll do that. Well, kids are home all day, so then we're hanging out with them because they're bored. And
keep them occupied.
And then there's nowhere to go. Like, I don't know, like our practice place that a friend of ours that we go to their place, we can be as loud as they want. Obviously, we haven't been going over there because of the whole social distancing thing. So it has been hard. And inspiration hits me at very inconvenient times too, when I'm driving or like right when
I can relate as a writer. I'm like, oh, I can't even write this down anywhere.
Yeah, it's like a light bulb will just come on and I'll hear something in my head and I'm like, I can't, and it's never somewhere I can even pull over, and it doesn't work. Or it'll be like right before I fall asleep, and then you do the famous, oh, I'll remember this. Yeah, you don't remember it. And so it's been difficult.
I think it's when your brain, your conscious kind of goes to sleep a bit. Like when you're distracted by driving, you're kind of zoned out. You're not really thinking of anything. That's when your subconscious brings the good stuff forward, and you're like, I can't do anything with this right now.
Yeah, it's the inspiration part's hard because while we're in this like this middle thing without a guitarist, we really get inspired as jamming as a group. That's how she'll have an idea, a lick or a line, and then when we just sit down and start playing, especially with Paul, when we were writing with Paul, it was almost like instant. The song would just gel out of nowhere, and it's all our inspiration. I think as a group is spontaneous.
Yeah, it was really, really great. When you're in a band, I've always said it's kind of like you're in a marriage. I mean, it is an extension because it takes a lot of dedication. And when you play with somebody, especially when you write and put something together with people, at least for me, it's like a bond. It's like this, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Coherentness, kind of where you're all kind of.
Even when someone says they like your music at a show, you've always had, when you see that person again, you always have this moment that you shared.
A rapport.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the better word. Especially when you're playing live and then you like lock eyes with one another, that's a bond. Or locking eyes with your fans. Like, there was a show we did in the band we were in high school, or not high school, college. The promoter that had us, this is a funny story. So the promoter had us, it was supposed to be a showcase of a whole bunch of different types of genres, you know where I'm going. And so we get there, and the outside of the place, this is downtown Cleveland, says, what did it say, funk show? And then later on,
Funk Fest.
But it was supposed to say Punk Fest, and someone had just taken a marker and like taken the F and tried to make a P. And it was just this whole mess. There was all kinds of, all these skinheads showed up, and they did not like us because we were not punk. They just decided and so when we got up on the stage to play, they're throwing beer bottles. It's like that whole scene in Blues Brothers. It almost made, but we're like, all right, here's the plan. We're going to do our set. And then when we're done, we're going to grab our crap, go out the back door and not look back. Let's do our set. And the really cool thing is once we started playing, it was a pretty packed place. There was a decent amount of people there. We had about 5 people come forward during our show and stand there and really liked it. And to me, that was the biggest compliment in my whole life. If I can win over 5 hardcore skinheads that wanted to kill me, then that's pretty cool.
That is, because you might be fearing for your life there for a moment. So what do you guys have planned going forward? I know quarantine's really thrown a wrench in performances. Has everything that you guys had planned canceled? I know Record Store Day's been canceled twice now.
I know.
That's our favorite.
Yeah, we love Record Store Day gigs.
Especially being a collector.
Yeah, and of course we love Groamy and everything he's all about, and Lima, and all of our gigs that we had lined up have been pretty much canceled so far. We're hoping that they would be rescheduled, but we haven't heard anything. But I guess this kind of gives us, like, Paul wants to come back and play like that show that got canceled at Groamy's. As long as his schedule works out, he wants to come back and play that with us still and honor that commitment. But as far as like any shows in the future, I think he's intending, that we have somebody else at that point. And, we have to cut the cord and we have to let him do that. So, we'll talk with Jonathan and we'll try out some people and we'll see what's what. But we plan on going forward.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I've got a lot of stuff in my head. I just want to get it out there.
Definitely. We're up to our second music break. And the first group that I'm going to mention is another band that was supposed to play at Record Store Day. I actually have a really funny story that involves them. I made a new friend because she had a resemblance to you, Jen.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard.
We are going to play Terraform, playing Blink and Blur, and a few more songs from Nothing She Said live at Groamy's on Record Store Day of 2019, only on ZTO Radio.
There is no color in her life. A photograph of black and white. Slowly confusion, time is wasting. Focus now to try and start again. Staring at the fingerprints on the wall. Carrying the weight of the world in her eyes. Didn't mean to put you out. I didn't mean to put you out. Didn't mean to put you out. Put you out of my mind. I didn't mean to put you out. I didn't mean to put you out. Didn't mean to put you out. I didn't mean to put you out.
And we're back once more with Nothing She Said. There is a woman named Dee McCleary who, unfortunately, she was supposed to join me tonight, but unfortunately her father is in the hospital with pneumonia on a ventilator.
Ew.
So unfortunately he is very, very sick. They have to make a decision here soon whether to take him off or not. So prayers and love go to her family. She's going through a lot right now. But her boyfriend is the lead singer of a grindcore band called Terraform. And they played their first public performance at Groamy's at the Christmas Bash. And I had seen her throughout the store, throughout the day, and I thought from far away that she was you. And finally, the last band is Terraform, so I'm sitting in the front, and she comes and sits next to me, and I'm like, oh, that's not her, Jen. But I thought she was you, and I actually was like, I know this is going to sound strange. I said, but you have somebody that looks like she could be your sister. And I actually showed her a picture that you had taken with Groamy. And so I actually struck up a conversation because I was like, hey, you know who you look like? And she's turned out to be a really great friend. I was actually really excited that Terraform and you guys were going to play Record Store Day because I really wanted to get a picture of you two
That
together.
would have been cool.
And I mentioned this to Groamy, and he was like, oh my God, I thought she was Jen too at first. So we got this picture. Dee and Groamy recreated this pose that you and Groamy had done. And before we took the picture, he went, wait, and started rummaging around and stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm trying to find a Nothing She Said sticker. So he was going to be a smart ass and hold up the Nothing She Said sticker in the picture with Dee, but he ended up not being able to find one. That would have been really, really funny. But yeah, there is a picture very similar to one that you and Groamy had taken, and you guys could be sisters. She looks like she could be your older sister. So I thought that was funny. But I am disappointed you guys won't get to play with them on Record Store Day. But are there any bands that you guys really would like to play with, like locally?
I mean, I'm not to give you a generic answer, but we just love meeting other original bands, any original bands. It doesn't even have to be whatever our style is. We love meeting other creative people that put their time and energy into trying to create something. That's great. You don't meet a lot of people like that nowadays that really just
locally it's cover music, and there's a lot of talented people here.
Oh, extremely talented. Yeah.
Right.
But we stick out like a sore thumb, so we to find that close by in Lima is this little, haven where there's these original bands showing, and they're coming from Columbus and Indiana, and I've enjoyed everybody I've seen. I'm horrible with names, but I try to meet the players, and actually, I know I enjoy when people watch me, spill my guts, were exposed, and I know I enjoy and I feed off of that, so I always try to be in front and support whoever it is.
Yeah, even if it's not something that we would normally listen to, you can still learn something. You can still take something from anybody in front of you. I mean, even if they're not playing well, at least they're out there and they're doing it, and they're going to get hopefully better. Or you meet someone that just blows your mind and you're like, oh my gosh, there's only 10 of us here and I get to be one of the people that just witnessed that. And I think that's really cool. We've played with a lot of interesting people. We've also been very blessed to open for some bigger acts and different things. And I mean, I know I mentioned Aaron, they're not playing out anymore, but we headlined a show at Howard's, and we had the Sunset Junkies come down, and we just loved them. Very talented group. We opened for a band called Daymere. They were very cool. But all of them at Groamy's, there's just something about Groamy's where everyone just kind of feels like family.
Right.
The guy from Let It Go, and Kevin, and all of them, it's like everyone's part of this big musical family. And so I'll play with anybody. I don't even care what style it is.
Yeah, Kevin Easy is definitely an amazing songwriter. The Let It Go, Cursive Z frontman.
Yeah.
He is definitely an extremely talented individual. And a lot of people that I have interviewed have said that Groamy's is the strangest place that they have ever played. But, the stage is definitely a little unusual. We had this last podcast where it's stage, quote unquote. But you guys, I can see that you really have a love for playing at Groamy's. So what would you say is the strangest place that you have ever played?
Well, with our old band, there was a place in Akron called Euro Gyro.
Oh yeah.
It was a little restaurant, I guess, a little gyro, Euro, I should say.
It was in downtown Kent.
Euro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And we're talking less space than what we have, maybe the same amount of space in the corner in front of people eating to play. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, like the entire building was probably the whole back area of Groamy's, like including the bar, including like if there was anywhere to sit. I don't even remember.
Or being invited to a bookstore in Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
And then being told to turn down, to where the amps were about. And we walked in with half. Oh, we had half stacks. We walked in with half stacks, and they hired us. And then they're like turn down. So there was like nothing. you could basically turn the amps off, and we're like, you hired us.
They knew what they were getting too, because they had our music. They hired us, and after a certain point, you know, isn't that the place where the guy asked if you could turn your drums down? I think that's probably the funniest quote I've ever heard in my life.
Turn your drums down?
Yeah, let me just find that volume knob. Hold on. Oh, there we go. That should be better. Yeah. Doesn't work funny.
That are places where they say they have equipment for you to play on that is broken, not there. You know, you learn, show up with your equipment, you know.
I think our very first show in this band.
That's probably one of the most interesting.
So shout out to our first fan I think we ever had, Mr. Mike Soto. Really cool guy in Findlay. Had us, hired us to play this, I don't even know what it was.
It was a Halloween bash.
Halloween bash type party.
In his garage shed, like a one car, and people were just hanging out, outdoor party. It was a biker party. And it was near October. It was cold. Yeah. And yeah, you could you could see our breath, and like the backdrop, I don't know where the picture is. I think it's on our page. It was a very small picture because it came from a cell phone, but my drum set's in front of two Harleys with a black light behind it, and they parked their bikes behind it, and it was our first actual show in this,
with Nothing
this
She
group.
Said.
Yeah.
And we had a different guitarist at that time when we were starting out too. So yeah, that was probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe.
That was probably one of the most interesting places. But we like the eclectic.
Yeah, we're not afraid of anybody. I mean, you know,
Groamy's looks like my basement. So
right.
And
right.
I drum, you know.
Yeah, we'll make friends with anybody that'll tolerate us. So.
All right, we are gonna play a music video premiere now. Asher, Gemini, and Unrated, their new song Venom, and then Sunset Junkies with Dragon's Tooth, only on ZTO Radio.
In a world full of empty syringes, home of the slaves in the land that's pretending they gotta watch your step. Cause them damn snakes will get you a venom, leave you not now. Staring up at the ceiling like damn. You even told yourself you never let him back in. Now you're holding on to the venom, trying to feel normal again. You're addicted, got bit so much you snaked your own fan, man. You don't even know much pain you're inflicting, but you're used to it. Even made rock bottom your home, pushed everyone away over your love for poison. It's silly, we're adults now, we're supposed to be grown, but every time I see you, you're chasing a dog like it's a frisbee, or a stick that inflicts when your life don't exist. But it does, it's just you can't see. You're stuck in black clouds with hovering demons. They starving and find our minds. I kill who first fed them to you. Flashback to when we were kids. They come out of it, it sickens me to watch the sickness thicken. It's killing me, I gotta be out. I just can't sit around and watch you kill yourself. Once the venom's in them, it's only the beginning. It's like they think the rest of the world stops spinning. They steal from their friends, steal from their women, steal from the family, play it off like the victims. Symptoms of addiction, in need of intervention. Locked up in prisons and enslaved by the system. I don't think I can forgive them, I know I can't forget them. I just hope they help themselves find a life that's worth living. There's some things in life that don't have a price, things that no amount of money can buy. Things like the memories of all our good times, and things like the bond between you and I. The shit ain't been right ever since that first fight. You stole from my friends just to feel the venom strike, and I must have been blind and just out of my mind to think that you bite their hands but not mine. So I hope that it was good, I hope that you were high, I hope that it was worth every tear my mama cried while you texted my phone in the middle of the night, saying come to my funeral cause tonight I might die. I said fuck that, why don't you stay strong and fight? Cause if you OD tonight, it's like surprise, surprise. I love you, my brother, but I got to say goodbye, cause I won't be a witness to your slow suicide. Once the venom's in them, it's only the beginning. It's like they think the rest of the world stops spinning. They steal from the friends, steal from the women, steal from the fear and play it off like a victim. Symptoms of addiction in need of intervention. Locked up in prisons and enslaved by the system. I don't think I can forgive them. I know I can't forget them. I just hope they help themselves find a life that's worth living.
with more with Nothing She Said. A lot of the music played tonight has been picked by you guys. Who would you count among your musical influences?
As far as like we're not talking local, we're talking like
anything.
Yeah. And so you're asking our influences in general.
Right.
So many.
Scroll, this big scroll.
Yeah. No, hold on. I go in spurts, but we both like a lot of like the early alternative, some of the new wave of the 90s. Anything. I'm a big Bowie fan, and we love Prince. I mean, it's very eclectic, and The Cure, Joy Division. We love Social Distortion. I've been in. Where else?
I just became a fan of Sisters of Mercy.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, where has it been all my life? But
some newer bands that are new to me that I haven't that have been around for a long time that I've been listening to lately. The Burning Peppermints. They're very interesting.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah. So check them out. I couldn't tell you how old. I don't think they're that old, and I apologize if I'm wrong on that. But their stuff's pretty sweet, and you can find it on Spotify or whatever. We like the Black Angels, Pulp. Remember them? I don't know if you were, but yeah, I've been listening to them, Jesus and Mary Chain lately. And then I go the other way where I like the National, not their newer stuff. I like their older stuff, but and then We Are Scientists. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're an amazing 3-piece band.
Flaming Lips.
Oh, Flaming Lips, yes. Flaming Lips is probably one of the best live shows I've ever seen in my life. Just where you don't breathe the entire time you're watching them play.
Just awestruck.
Yeah, just unbelievable, just showmanship and just talent, and yeah, that was a good show. I think he's a little salty because he didn't get to go to that show.
Hey.
My best guy friend Josh, he's his best friend too. It's kind of, anyway, he took me for my birthday. Was that like 10, 12 years ago or something? And yeah, he didn't get to go.
I got to see the Ramones in high school, so I'm happy.
Not too many can say that. Definitely.
Yeah, hey, I got to see Ramones. Yeah, not too many people can say that. So.
Yeah, a way to date yourself.
I love every time I say I wish I could see a band, and when I'm talking to Groamy, and he's like, "Yeah, seen them,
yep.
seen them." I'm like, "Who have you not seen?"
Or you're so excited to tell somebody about a new band you found, and they're like, I already knew about them. And you're like, really? Yeah, it's a little disappointing.
But it's so cool to find bands that it's not like everything is done. There's bands that have been around, 70s and 80s groups that I've never heard of, and I'm able to find these groups and discover them like they're new, and it's totally new, and I listen to older stuff and I get influenced, and then I want to play and create something that's influenced off of that, that's handed off of that,
Well, and I just thought of something. I think I bought some Stray Cats albums out from under you at Groamy's on Record Store Day. I just remembered that. Or no, the last show you played, I meant. The last Groamy show you played.
Yeah.
I think because I think Jen was like, oh yeah, those are the ones he was looking at. Sorry. I think I was wearing my Stray Cat shirt that day too.
I love that shirt.
I have a vintage, yeah.
Is that I'd love to. I want to get a Stray Cat. I've always liked them growing up, always. So
they're fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, and congrats on that Rivet Up radio playing Nothing to Say. That was very cool.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. He reminds me, I've never met him in person. I've only talked to him like through Facebook. But he reminds me of like a young-hearted, like kind of like a Groamy. He's really all about indie music and super passionate about it and just wants to get it out there. And he's not like doing anything to promote himself. He's like all about promoting the music. So, you know, when you find people like that, that's really cool.
So did you even know he was going to do that, or did you find out after the fact, or?
He asked permission. He had
okay.
Kind of like we sent you guys, you know, the zip files or whatever. He asked if he could play some of our stuff, and well, yeah, you know, sure, thanks, you know.
Right. Oh yeah.
That had to have been very flattering for somebody to show an interest.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, we've had some different ones like that, or a friend that wanted to use our music for his gaming podcast or something like that, and it's nice to hear. Oh, you like our stuff? Oh, that's cool. You know, it's like, yeah, that's very cool.
Nice to find fans like that. Do you have any strange interactions with fans that you can think of? Anything bizarre?
Who was well, we've opened for probably it's kind of weird. We've opened for some tribute bands before, which I know is kind of odd, but like I said, we'll play with anybody. And they're usually some fairly known tribute type bands, and some of their fans can be interesting, or some of the members can be a little interesting. Do you remember the basis of what band was that we, that tribute band? Was that a Journey? I think it was a Journey tribute band, and the bassist was probably like the buffest guy you've ever seen.
He was Fabio.
He was. And the guys were all crunching on him. They were just like
he was a
in
beautiful
love
man.
with him. And I'm like, he's not really who I go for. He's not my kind of good looking, but all the guys were like, wow, he's beautiful.
He was like Fabio. It was
well, Jonathan does have quite a head of hair.
Well, I don't think Jonathan was at that show, but that's true.
But
you could have your own pretty guitarist.
Yeah, he can be our Fabio.
It's a little interesting sometimes when we go to when we show up at shows and the guys in other groups have been like, oh, there's this girl in this group, and they don't know we're together.
Oh, yeah, well.
And they, you know, and they're kind of, you can see they're like, hey, who's this girl? And then I'm kind of keep quiet and don't say anything. And then later I'm like, well, you know, that's my wife.
That's after he's let them buy my drinks for the night. You know?
Well, hey, he gets out cheap, so why not?
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of times though, we don't go into new places and we don't announce that we're married because. And
I honestly didn't know. Aaron told me right before I interviewed you guys. I had no idea.
So it's not. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like this It's not like, oh, I don't want anyone to know. It's kind of a little soapbox of mine. I think there's a stigma when I think not everybody, but I think that there's a stigma that people sometimes put people in a box. Oh, there's a married couple. Gee, which one of them isn't talented and they're only allowed to be in the band because they're married? Right. And unfortunately, a lot of times they do that to the girl. Oh, she's playing bass, so look at her. Oh, and it's like, I kind of want to stand on my own 2 feet first. And then later on, when we're talking with people, that comes up. And, you know, the same for him, too. I mean, we all bring something to the table. And we also, like, you know, I know the interview right now is just me and him. And that's only because, you know, Paul is, you know, not a part of it right now. But I don't think anyone is any more important than the other. So it kind of alleviates that, too. I want everyone to be able to bring everyone brings what they have to the table without it being, oh, it's the married couple. So that's kind of my weird reasoning. But
makes sense though. because you don't want that to be anybody to make any kind of assumptions. Okay, we're up to another music break. Right now, we're going to play more from Nothing She Said with their song Dark Cloud, only on ZTO Radio. we are back with our final bit from Nothing She Said. So what advice would you give people who wanted to start their own band?
I think picking the right people to start the band with is 101. I think some people get excited and they'll just play with anyone, and sometimes that works out. Sometimes that can be really cool. I mean, I can think of national acts that could barely play their instruments or even practically knew what they were playing, and then now they're like huge. So sometimes it just works out, but I think finding the right mix of people, because like I said before, it's kind of like a marriage, or at least to me, if you're going to make a good band, you should have that mindset. Knowing your instrument, knowing how to play it is also pretty important. Not saying that you can't start when you're a beginner, because you're going to get better, but not being afraid to go against the fold, that's huge. Pushing back on people saying, oh, well, you're never going to sell any records, you're never going to be famous unless you sell
money.
You're not going to make any money. You know what, that's fine. If some people do this for money, I'm not going to dog them, because making money is great.
Doing what you love is everybody's dream, really.
Right.
Well,
it's art.
Oh gosh, if we could quit our day jobs and only do this, we would. But realistically, I put my heart and soul into something that I love. I have to stand behind it and put my stamp on it. And then my hope is that somebody else can get in touch with it and it will touch them too. And it may not be for everybody, and I'm okay with that, because it will be right for the right people. And if that doesn't make me a giant rock star, I'm really okay with that.
I feel like the message will find whoever needs it.
Yes. I really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't like what I make, that's okay too, because there's somebody else out there that's going to make something that they're going to like. So if I'm not the one, that's okay. So
writing, I mean, I couldn't write any lyrics. I mean, the writing is important. If you don't have the person to write the lyrics, I don't know how you can have a band. He's like the key instrument, I think.
But I think a lot of that comes with maturity too. I mean, it just depends, I guess, on what your goal is when you want to start a band. If your goal is to make money and get as big as possible, that's fine. But
or sound like everybody else.
all power to you. But if you're in it because you truly love it and you want to create something amazing, the biggest piece of advice I will almost guarantee them is you are probably not going to be famous in the sense that you might think you are, and be prepared to have a 9-to-5 job or whatever job, and until you get your big break, if it ever happens, and to be okay with it.
And don't be too big to play the bookstore or
the record store
or Groamy's.
You're gonna play for free at some point. You're not, there's people that complain that you're giving your art away, but
I'm okay with that to a certain extent, because who am I? I'm really,
we're normal everyday people.
Yeah, it's like, and if somebody is going to hear it and they're going to love it, that's why I made it. So, that's why we do it. And we would love giant crowds, but and sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. We don't play any less aggressively when there's two people. We'll put our heart and soul if there's one person, as opposed to shows where we've had hundreds, thousands, whatever. We're going to put the same intensity and heart into it. And
because that one person could turn into 20 other people, them telling about the band. And
right. We saw we saw in Cleveland, Chevelle was on their first tour in Cleveland. There was maybe our band, the 4 people, and maybe their crew and their band. It was maybe 10.
And the bartender.
10 people in the room. You know, this was before they were playing arenas. But we were like watching them. I, could have reached over and touched the drum set, and it was like they still played, and they were a touring act, and they played for the 5-6 people that were there, and it was an incredible show.
And I don't care how good anyone thinks they are, there is somebody better. And that's very humbling. I think that's important too. As great as we might think a song is that we wrote, there's people that have way more talent than us, or maybe could have taken what we wrote and made it a different way, but it doesn't matter because it's art, and everybody does their art differently.
Very well said. Very well said. Because there's got to be room in the world for everything that's out there. You got to, you just can't be pigeonholed into one little thing.
Right.
Well, I guess that's going to wrap things up for tonight. I'd like to thank Nothing She Said for coming on and hanging out with us. But before we go, we've got 2 more songs for you. We're going to end the night with a segment from the Cane Toads' very first live performance at the Groamy show on June 30th, 2018. And the very final song of the night is Nothing She Said, Rusty Nail. This is Carrie Meyer signing off for ZTO Radio and reminding you to always stay indie.
Thank you for having us.
No problem.
got this out, you know you got it.
Listening to ZTO Radio.